Good morning, Turks and Caicos. Welcome to First Edition. We've got a great topic for you, something that's very important, something that we ought to talk about. Our youth, our young people. And joining me in the studio in Grand Turk is the newly minted Deputy Director of Youth, Mr. Nixon Dickinson. And here in studio with me is Ms. Brianna Walcott. She is the Youth Officer. Good morning to both of you.
Good morning.
Morning, Mr. Dickinson. How are you?
Good morning, good morning. Like I said, all the way from the nation's capital.
Oh boy, all the way. All right, so let's get started. If you had to describe the youth department this year in one sentence, what would that be?
There's a saying, a Jamaican saying, "Little but we talawa." We are a very small department, but we are mighty and very strong.
Yeah. Deputy Director, you agree with that?
Totally agree. If I have to, it would probably be impactful. You know, it's throughout the whole year, through our programs, through our events, you know, and the response of our young people, you know, very much impactful.
Yeah. You mentioned programs and initiatives. So could both of you tell me what program or initiative you embarked on this year where you said to yourself, yes, this is working?
Mr. Dickinson, do you want to go first?
Yeah, I definitely, from our flag program, okay, we have the establishments of national youth day events. A lot of persons don't realize that that's actually part of the program for Department of Youth Affairs, okay? And of course, and I mention that because it just happened lately in terms of the response from the general public, that we were able to have a wide variety of events that was catered to our young people, events, you know, that they actually help us to implement. And so we have the cadets program, of course, our mentorship program, you know, the Power of Me program was impactful. And so there are so many programs that we have under our National Youth Parliament, to our youth ambassadors. And so these are programs that, of course, cater for and by young people, that they actually are in the forefront of implementing and establishing and gaining feedback and input from our young people themselves. So yeah, for a wide variety of programs that we have out there, that constantly that our young people are taking leadership role within that, because within the department now, we are aiming to create transformational leaders. And so we are trying to set the pace, as Brianna said, a small department, but yet still powerful. And so we are allowing our young persons, as such as Brianna themselves, to be at the forefront of most of these programs.
Yeah. And Ms. Walcott, as the youth officer, give us a success story. Give me one program that truly moved you and your team this year.
I believe, and I'll reference two, because we have one that's long-standing, and then we have our annual National Youth Week. And I'll start with the National Youth Week event. We saw a variety of youth that not only would have participated inside of it from behind the scenes, but also at the forefront. We would have switched up, especially with hosting the organizing of these events and the participation as panel speakers, keynote speakers, and even when we talk about the robotics event initiative that we would have had, you would have seen young students as young as 12 and 13 and 14 being at the forefront and doing the demonstrations to teach the rest of the youth in the Turks and Caicos Islands. So seeing youth be involved at that level was something that was very commendable. And even with the Youth in Media Expo that would have happened in Grand Turk, we're getting that positive feedback from the youth right across the board with all of our events. And they're seeing a huge shift to seeing that they are valued not only as persons to just show up at these events, but active participants behind the scenes, the different recommendations or issues that they would have voiced previously were actually acted up upon. And so they're actually seeing these things come to fruition for them and are showing up for them.
I'm glad you said that, because I'm going to use that as my segue. Now, we've talked about a lot of wins this morning that the department has had, but usually there's some hard truths and some losses as well. And you just mentioned, and I want to stay there. Young people say they want to be heard, not just helped. How are youth shaping the programs, or are they just attending them?
So in regards to youth being a part of the active decisions that we make it our duty to actually sit down with youth and make sure that they are part of the discussions. So we would ensure that they themselves are part of committees that are helping to make these decisions. So we're not just going out on a whim, but making data-informed decisions, and that they are included inside of the process and actually seeing it through from the beginning straight until the end, and also being mentors to other youth in that process.
Yeah. And Mr. Dickinson, is there any particular program where you could say the youth involvement really helped shape that policy?
As Brianna alluded to, because this year's Youth Day thing, okay, youth with purpose, building a sustainable TCI. We saw innovation, we saw creativity, we saw purpose-driven youth, of course, as I alluded to earlier, being in the forefront of nation building and developing TCI. I saw creativity and talent to its best, from the speaking engagement to the job fairs to the symposium that was created for these young persons. And so it's a wide variety of events where we were able to showcase the talent, the skills, the skill building aspect from our young person, is unheard of. And, many persons would say, oh, yeah, we have a lot of young people in Turks and Caicos that have that sort of skills and development, but unless we create a platform for them, in order for them to be showcased, in order for that talent to, for the world to see that talent, it just would be on a down low. So throughout the week of the youth events, and it's not just a one-day celebration anymore, it's a whole week of events, we were able to showcase the talent and skills of young people. And of course, on a regular, we will probably host one or two youth symposiums or forum. And of course, that in the same breath will allow us to, hear of issues that the young people are facing themselves, for them to come up with solutions. So again, it's all about developing transformational leaders and setting the stage for these young people, to be showcased.
Yeah. Now, I know you both and your whole team and department, you try to reach all the young people in the Turks and Caicos throughout. But who are those young people who are not showing up? Why are they missing?
I believe that one set of young people that we are aiming to reach even more are our young adults. So as far as our programs go, we mainly engage with students who are within this, young persons who are within the school system. So we're working extremely hard now for some of the events that we would have had, such as the Media Expo and the Financial Literacy Expo that we would have had. We would have been able to engage more of those younger adults between the ages of 18 to 35. And so we're looking to engage a lot more of them and wanting them to show up and helping them to understand that these aren't limited to young persons under the ages of 18. These programs are also here here for you to help bridge those gaps. There's a lot of skills that we would have probably missed out because those opportunities weren't there at the time, but here they are now. They're also open for you.
Yeah, let's make use
to get,
of them.
yes.
Yeah. If you're just joining us, listeners, viewers, we're talking to the team from the TCI Youth Department. We have the Deputy Director, Nixon Dickinson, with us, and we have our Youth Officer, Brianna Walcott. Now, we wanted to talk this morning about the Youth Awards. We understand that it's going to be a highlight. So what could young people look forward to?
Lots of excitement. I think that the National Youth Awards brings a different level of national pride and just a warm feeling to be recognized, because the National Youth Awards aims to not only highlight and identify those key persons, but also to celebrate and help them elevate themselves. I think the different approach that we'll be taking this time around is that we'll be engaging these new awardees on a long-term basis. It's not just you receive an award and
Kind of one and done.
one and done, but making that sustainable. So just going back to our theme, youth with purpose, building a sustainable TCI, how is that going to translate into the future of our youth for the Turks and Caicos Islands?
And Mr. Dickinson, what are some of the categories and criteria for the Youth Awards?
For this year's, we are actually looking to, celebrate the extraordinary talent and resilience and dedication of our young people and their commitment. We want to recognize these young people, and so we came up with a few categories that will speak directly to building the sustainable TCI through our young people. And we have the Premier's Youth Award, we have Youth in Sports, we have Youth and Entrepreneurship Award, we have Youth and Art, Culture and Heritage, Youth and Performing Arts, Youth with Personal the Personal Triumph Award, Youth and Religion Award, Youth Environmental Stewardship Award, Youth and Health and Wellness Award, Youth and Media Award, and it goes on. Youth and Tourism, Youth and Professional Award. It's about 30 different categories that we are able to recognize, our skill set within our young people.
Yeah, it sounds like a very broad spectrum, like you're covering everybody.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So when will be the Youth Awards?
January 3rd, 2026.
And I understand in the nation's capital?
We are not yet going over to the nation's capital, but we are bringing the nation's capital persons from South Caicos, North and Middle Caicos over to Providenciales for these awards. So we're making sure that we're capturing everyone.
Okay, great. And why is it important, you both think, why is it important for young people to celebrate each other's achievements? Why is that significant?
I think one thing, it then helps for a generation to see themselves and others and being highlighted. I think it's definitely motivating, and it pushes you to do a lot more. There's a certain expectation that we expect from our awardees. In highlighting all of these awardees, in looking at the different selections or all of these submissions, you'll see something that's common among all of them. Integrity, service, impact, innovation. So those are some of the things that we have, and it opens up a lot of new opportunities. I can speak to this as a past awardee myself. You would see a lot more opportunities open up for you, not just for self, but for others as well. Room for mentoring others, involving others inside of the programs, and opening up that space for impact.
And Deputy Director, do you still classify yourself as a young person?
I was looking around when you said young person. I'm so far from that. But actually,
young at heart, young at heart.
Yeah. Thank you, Brianna. Young at heart, but I see a change in our young person. People here, sorry, and I must commend I want to reach out, first of all, and commend our parents for the involvement, engagement I've seen for the last few years. That was something that we've been fighting for on a platform for a very long time. And now I see full commitment and engagement with these young persons, that we were able to recognize the young persons because the involvement of parents. I've heard a lot of negative reports in terms of parents are not engaging enough. I don't think so. I think it's a change in TCI. And so I want to take this opportunity to commend our parents and to please keep the involvement going on. Please get involved with what is happening in your child's life. The after-school activities, the weekend activities, rapid engagement, or those who are involved in social media, platforms, keep involved, keep involved. It's
Yeah.
making a change in the lives of our young people.
And Ms. Walcott mentioned that this year you're going to be using or utilizing those awardees almost as ambassadors or in other fields. So, Mr. Dickinson, how do you see these National Youth Awards going beyond trophies and actually motivating young people to aim higher?
As I said earlier, it's inspiring, it's encouraging, and you're more inclined to be involved when you see your peers being, highlighted. You know, not in the sense of jealousy or anything. It's just that it's more encouraging for you to say, wait, you know, I see Mr. Dickinson receive an award for something, but yeah, that's old man. But when you see your peers are being highlighted and being awarded, it encourages you to be more engaged in the things of the community, things more engaged in things in your school. Because if my friend John can get this award in sports and or whatever, I think I can do it as well. I have certain skills in this area. I hope they recognize me. So it opens door of so much possibilities and opportunities for other young people to be more engaged, to have more hands-on. And for the last few years, I've seen that. And so with these awards, it helps us to celebrate our young people, but also make a stage for other young people to be more engaged and involved.
Yeah. Now, it's perhaps human nature, and I see it happening a lot in Turks and Caicos, where it's always like that little nucleus of individuals who are always highlighted. Having been an awardee yourself, what is the message you would send to that young person who thinks that his or her contribution isn't big enough to be recognized? What's your message to that person?
Well, to that person, I'd say don't limit your potential or what you're doing to an award. Even though we would highlight the awards and make it something that is extremely special, it's not limited to titles and awards. What you're doing is measured by its impact that it has on other individuals. So don't allow that to stop you. And I think one of the unique things with this specific awards, with us broadening the categories to include more persons and zoning on those other specific areas, as well as widening the age category. Previously it would have been, I believe, either 16 or 18, and now we've lowered it to 12. So it encompasses a lot more persons throughout the Turks and Caicos Islands that are truly making a difference in the community and contributing to the national development.
Yeah. And Mr. Dickinson, Ms. Walker and I were just talking about, you know, that certain little group of people who we seem to see highlighted all the time. So with these National Youth Awards, how have you ensured fairness and transparency?
We, first of all, for transparency, you know, a committee was selected. Of course, they are all independent voices, not linked to the Ministry of Education or Department of Youth Affairs, and definitely the minister, myself, Mr. Howell, and the executive team, you know, came together. We all were in agreement for this, that it should be independent voices out there that are able to help us recognize some of these young people that you don't normally see on the forefront. And I want to endorse what Brianna said, because that is so profound. That is key to what she said earlier. Don't limit yourself to an award. I like that, and especially coming from a young person, you know, coming from a young person like Brianna. And so, because we have a lot of young people out there, a lot of young street youth, we have unattached youth, we have the youth on the block. However you would want to, you know, categorize that young person, but they are young people that are not all, you know, in a gang, not all, you know, making a negative impact.
Yeah.
There are ones that young entrepreneurs out there that on a hustle, that just on a grind each day, that we don't see in the forefront. We want to acknowledge these young people, because, you know, from me hitting the streets and us going on the street corners, we see these young people out there that you don't normally see on a forum or symposium, but and maybe because of their choice, and some of these young people, have a past, have some history. They made some mistakes and so forth, and they believe that society sort of cast them aside, and we're like, nah, it's not. That's not the end of your story. That's only the beginning, brother. We it's so much more built up inside of you. We want to acknowledge you if it's all right with you. We want to, highlight your accomplishment because your story can help save another young person. Your life can help shape the life of another young person. Not because you're not in the forefront, you're not significant. You are precious. You are full of purpose. And so we at the Department of Youth Affairs, we want to highlight that. We want to highlight you, and we want to encourage you to keep doing what you're doing.
Always listening to him, you can hear that passion.
Yeah.
He's really passionate about it, and so we want to thank Mr. Dickinson for that. But you said the awards are January 3rd?
Yes, ma'am.
January 3rd. So have the nominees been notified, or is it a surprise? Are we only going to know on that day?
Yes. So to the public, you are only going to know at the National Youth Awards, which will also be live stream for those persons who won't be able to make it. But yes, persons are definitely in for a surprise. There's lots in store, especially with the wide amount of categories that we have.
Yeah.
So 29 to 30, yes, that's a lot.
And what time is it?
So we have scheduled that for 7 p.m. So January 3rd, 2026 at 7 p.m. at the Braden Hall.
All right, so let me just play devil's advocate. So the nominees are not going to know. How are you going to ensure that they're there?
The
nominees will know.
Will know,
okay.
But it won't be to
published.
The public. Yes.
Okay, so they will know. All right. And do you know how many nominees you had, like in total, across the categories?
There have been over 57.
You are joking.
Sorry, over 67 nominees across the various categories. So there's a lot for the judging panel to go through,
right.
But all of them have, I believe, what would be an outstanding portfolio.
And these nominees came from across Turks and Caicos, right?
Yes, across Turks and Caicos. So we do have persons from Grand Turks, South Caicos, North and Middle Caicos, and Providenciales who've been nominated. Some persons would be at the primary school level, depending on their age, throughout the high school, college, and then our young adults.
That's great. That's awesome. I mean, to have so many nominees, so people really got involved and interested in nominating our young people.
Yes, yes.
So it also shows them, gives them a sense of appreciation that people are looking at them and thinking of them.
Yes, most definitely. And I think persons shouldn't look at it as this being too late. The awards would have come again. We do it on a biannual basis. So there's lots more to look forward to. Don't think that you're limiting yourself just by having to participate in this year's awards.
Yeah.
But look forward to a lot more from our department.
Yeah. Is there anything else about the awards that we haven't talked about that you'd like to highlight? Anything we missed?
I think we have a few more surprises left inside of the hat. But there's a lot more that we're going to share on our page, and I think at this time I would like to invite the public to stay in tune with what the Department of Youth Affairs are doing, not just when it comes to National Youth Week or the National Youth Awards, because there's a lot more programs that we have in store and opportunities that are available to our youth. And so a lot can come out of it. So stay tuned. It's Department of Youth, TCI, on both Facebook and Instagram. And lots more on the awards are coming up.
I can hardly wait. Mr. Dickinson, anything to add on the Youth Awards?
Yes, Brenda said it all. There's a few surprises for our young people because, like I said, we want to show our appreciation to you. And of course, these nominees were selected by the general public, not the Department of Youth Affairs. So the public is saying to you young people that we acknowledge, we want to celebrate your outstanding achievement and accomplishment, you know, and we want to show you, you know, how much we appreciate what you're doing. You know, there is a place and a platform for you. Just keep on, just keep shining, man. We notice you, we recognize you. We want to, you know, we want to tell you keep doing what you're doing. And so let me just take this opportunity to, I believe I can go on record in saying this. The hardest working, I think we were nominated the hardest working department in the whole government. That's the Department of Youth Affairs.
Oh yeah, who did that nomination?
Word just came in. Oh yeah, yes.
Who made that nomination?
And so thank you to the staff of the Department of Youth Affairs, those who assist in the Ministry of Education, of course to our Minister, Undersec, and our PS, of course to the Director in our absence. You know, I just want to say, you know, we work well as a team, and so these awards are just a platform to show you, the general public, and our young people how much we do appreciate what you're doing, and we would want to always highlight your accomplishments, not just the negative stories, but always the accomplishments of our youth and TCI.
Yeah, you know, it's a great initiative. I'm all in. But what I find with competitions and initiatives like this is that they can somehow also be demotivating. So there's this young person who says, I have given my all this year, but I wasn't selected. How are you going to keep that young person motivated to still giving his and her best?
I think that it comes with a lot of the encouragement of knowing that your work or your worth isn't limited to that award, and just encouraging and engaging those nominees as well. So I believe that that is something that we would have to do, and ensuring that these nominees know that the work that they're doing is also very impactful, and they shouldn't stop their work just because it wasn't selected or awarded at that specific time. I think that you should just keep pushing on and know that you shouldn't limit yourself. Shoot for the stars. There's something better out there for you. Yes.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about some of the work you did this year. We just heard that the Department of Youth Affairs was nominated the most hardworking department within the public service. I'm going to say that with a disclaimer, because I don't know where that information came from, but I heard the deputy say it a while ago. But at the start of this year, I'm sure you set goals for the department. Are any of those unfinished?
I do think that we do have a lot more to do. We would have started the training for the Duke of Edinburgh, so that is something we can look forward to in the next year, just for us to build up on. We've also been doing our youth advocacy training, so that's building a new cohort of young persons, not only to advocate within their own organizations, but to also help on a more broader scale. And the mentorship programs, expanding our reach with schools, and a lot of stakeholder engagement, engaging persons at the 18 plus level. So there's lots more for us to do. Our team is very small. Mr. Dickinson can attest to it. We're a team of 7 persons. So there's lots for us to do, and yeah. But I think we've done a very good job.
Yeah, I think so too. Congratulations. Mr. Dickinson, if I were to ask you, what was the toughest lesson the youth department learned this year, what would you say?
The toughest lesson, I think having, okay, what we wanted, one of our KPIs at the beginning of this year, okay, was to to increase our volunteerism program. And at the beginning, of course, always you would, on paper, through our surveys and so forth that we sent out there, because we would normally ask persons what programs, events that you would want to see the department implement for the year. We just don't come up with these ideas on our own. It's just a sense of asking the general public and sending surveys and information into the schools and asking, our young persons, what would you want to see, happen in the department? We can't do it all. But at the beginning, the positive feedback of volunteerism, I want to find some ways that I can engage this year. I can utilize my time more with the department. And so, of course, we were excited about that. And just, to the middle of the year, we just seen adrenaline down a little bit. And so, we're constantly asking the public, to volunteer with us, with the department. I think that was one of the biggest challenges that we faced. And also, at the beginning of the year, we saw an increase in youth and crime, okay? And even though we have Saving Our Boys and Mentor Me, we feel as if, we have failed the youth in a certain aspect that because what we are seeing, we can do more. But then to the end of the day, it's not just about the department. Anything that we do in Turks and Caicos, we have to take a multi-sector approach.
Yeah.
It's everyone, in this village. It's everyone have to be engaged. And whatever we see happening with our young people especially. And so having that sense of volunteerism, we need that to increase. I think it would be, it would definitely increase the standard of the department and help us to accomplish our KPIs.
Yeah. So let me stick with you for a minute. If funding was not an issue, what is the one youth challenge that you would address immediately in TCI? And tell us why.
One of the youth challenges we have is that I find that there is not enough mentorship. It's not enough, not just programs, but mentorships being present. People don't understand what you can do and reaching out to the lives of a young person, because they're not watching our programs, they're not listening to our messages, they're not reading our articles, they're watching our lives, they're watching what we're doing, they're watching our leaders, they're watching the politicians, those who are in authority over these young people, they're watching their lifestyle, and if we have enough mentorship present, it makes a difference when you can impact the life of a child with just being present. Some of these young people just need somebody to listen to. Some of these young people are facing so much mental issues that we are discovering now, and just having someone present, like, listen, I am here for you. I understand what you're going through. I understand the challenges that you're facing, because these young people are watching their peers and the way they dress and the way they look, and and they want these things. They envy after these things, and so they by any means necessary they will do together. But if you have a strong mentor, and I'm not talking about a mentor who's gonna take a child out and then post it on Facebook the next day, or give a child a pair of shoes and this evening is on Facebook saying, well, look what I have to know. We need process that behind the scenes, when the camera is not there, that you are reaching out, you are changing the life, you are speaking, God to these young people. You're sharing your life, you're sharing your story, where you've been, how you made it, what gained your success, how am I able to reach to that path? Let me spend a day at your business. Let me learn. Mentorship is key right now in Turks and Caicos and the lives of our young people. I definitely believe that once that increased, we would see the changes in the life of our youth.
Yeah. So how does one get engaged in being a mentor to some young person? Is there a process through the department, or does one just volunteer?
Yes, so there is a process through the department. So you would first reach out to just acknowledge that you are interested. We do have the mentorship programs, and of course, you do background checks, making sure, because our youth are very vulnerable.
Yes.
And we have to ensure that these persons are modeled behavior. But yes, we absolutely need all of the volunteers that we can get, because there are a lot of youth across the Turks and Caicos that are not necessarily being reached all of the time. And especially in times like this, you need that consistent level of support for our youth, not just the one-off, as Mr. Dickinson would have indicated. So acknowledging their capacity to act inside of these rules, because we don't want you show up one day, but that's it for the rest of the year. So we do need that level of consistency. But once you're interested, you can always reach out to the department. And even if it isn't mainly through our department, we do work along with various schools and organizations, and we'd be able to place you with those in which we support as well.
Yeah. Now you mentioned lots of surprises, but let's go back to your programs. What program in your mind you think should genuinely excite young people about the year ahead? Is there anything planned that should really excite them?
I think the National Youth Week activities are always definitely something to look forward for, but I think the Power of Me, it is a dynamic 6 to 8 week program that we implement inside of the various schools, and that looks very robust. So we have various activities that we do with our youth, and helping to engage them in a very creative manner. So we're not just teaching anger management and emotional intelligence, but we're looking forward to partnerships with various stakeholders to engage them and excite them, especially for our career days. Looking forward to not just being inside of that room and looking at the various careers, but taking them out in the various fields and engaging with local business owners, so that they can see these things hands-on.
Yeah.
So right across our various activities, especially with our summer camp, I know the last time we would have taken them to beaches where they would have made various cupcakes, and that opens up the doors for them, and acknowledging their talent and getting offered internships from such a small age, as small as 11.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's lots
That's
to look forward
exciting.
to.
Yeah.
Can't limit it. Yes.
Yeah. So, Mr. Dickinson, in your travels, and I know you do a lot with the young people, your Voices on the Street and all that sort of thing, and all the other programs you're engaged in. At this stage today, where you are and having been with the department and working with young people for so long, is there anything that a young person says to you today that kind of still leaves you speechless?
Oh, I, believe it or not, I encountered just a few days ago, a young man. He I guess he traveled. He was in the UK somewhere, and he was like, something you said to me, sir, on a camp 2014. I can't remember what I ate last week. And he was like, so you remember that lesson you was teaching on young persons starting their own businesses? And he said, yo, Mr. Dickinson, because of what you said, when I left Turks and Caicos, my family, whatever, I did not know if going to a different country that, it would better my life. He said, but I have my own business out there. And because you said no matter the environment that you are in, you can still develop your goals, you can still develop your skill set, you can still do, you can still, allow your purpose to be highlighted, go after your dreams. And believe it or not, child, I was trying to remember the brother's name. I was so embarrassed until he mentioned his name. And when he mentioned his name, I said, "Oh yeah, man, Joe." I'm just calling him. I was like, "Yeah," and so stories like that you hear all the time. And so it encourages you to keep doing what you're doing, right? That you feel, oh, am I outdated? Am I not relevant? Am I, you be thinking these things, and you'll say, okay, it's time. You allow the young persons to be at the forefront now, but when you hear these success stories, it changes the whole dynamics of you trying to lay low. It just encourages you to go on. But I wanna mention something that you and Brianna spoke earlier that I think is key importance right now for one of the departments. I think when we speak of safeguarding, that is very important in today's time. And I think I endorse the government and all the training that is happening because our young people are vulnerable, and we can't take advantage of the environments that most of these young people may find themselves. But we can run from it that it is happening. We have issues. We have issues with safeguarding our young persons, and so by us doing background checks and so forth and learning the history, because we just don't want you to jump up and say, oh, I am going to create a summer camp, I am going to do an Easter program, and you have no connections with the Ministry of Education or the Department of Youth Affairs. We all have these policies, and we all have to highlight the importance of safeguarding. Yes, we want the professionalization of the youth department, but at the same time, that incorporates us, make sure our young persons are safe. We have to create safe places for our youth.
Yeah.
And this is where all hands are on deck, because you know what it is for a parent to entrust you with a child from 8:30 to 5:30. That is a serious responsibility.
Yeah.
And when we understand how important safeguarding is and the role that each department must play in guarding the lives of our youth, okay? And so that's why I just wanted to add that so the general public can know how important the role in safeguarding our youth is.
I'm glad you mentioned that. So what sort of relationships does the Department of Youth Affairs have with these other agencies and departments that take care of our youth? For instance, the Deputy Director just mentioned safeguarding. There's Family and Child Services. What relationships does the Department of Youth have with these other agencies?
Specifically with the Department of Family and Child Services, we would ensure that we're working along together. So in any instance where someone may come to the Department of Youth Affairs seeking help, we would then work along with these other agencies, whether it is that they need assistance in any light. We provide specific services and would work together with these different departments to ensure that these youth are being offered all the necessary services and opportunities to better themselves.
Yeah.
So even the training with the child safeguarding, our interns, apprentices, and our volunteer networks are all trained by the department.
That's awesome. All right, here's a fast fire round for both of you, and I want to hear from both of you. So, one word to describe TCI youth right now.
Innovative.
Mr. Dickinson, what's your word?
Brianna, you see why we walked close? You see why we were, that was my word. I kid you not. And so okay, I have to take the Department up for lunch just for that. That was, yes, innovation. Creativity.
All right, a skill every young person should develop before age 25.
Critical thinking skills.
Mr. Dickinson?
I would say listening. Oh my God, I listen more. I don't want to elaborate too much, but because our young persons, I love their drive, I love their passion, but I want them to sit down and take time out and hear out from those who already paved the way. We just can't push the elders aside. I want them to take time and listen, to observe, and to understand some of these skills that these persons went through and their experiences. We can gain, you can learn. So I think more of developing your listening skills.
Yeah. Okay, what's the biggest threat to youth success today?
You got me there.
While she thinks, what do you think, Deputy Director? What's the biggest threat to youth success today?
The biggest
threat.
The biggest. Not the biggest threat is not developing enough leaders, not developing enough sufficient leaders in terms of them giving our young person the leadership role. Now, I have to be very careful when I say that, because yes, I believe that if you qualify for a particular job, okay, and if you have the necessary skills, education, all that, you can jump to a sort of management position fast. But I think a young person probably just need to just take their time and go through the different ranks. And again, like I said, that's a different topic for a different time. But because I believe that not that you can just accomplish your goals right away, or you can't be a leadership right away. But I believe just take your time.
Work towards it.
Take your time. Walk through it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Go
Slow
through
and
it.
steady wins the race.
Slow and steady wins the race. Okay, so we talked about threat. So what would you say is the biggest opportunity for youth today?
I think that especially with this generation, we see young people not being afraid to just try. I think that they're very daring and they're audacious. So that, I think, is one of the biggest opportunities. You can either tell me yes or no. I'm going to try anyway.
Yeah. Biggest opportunity, Deputy Director?
These young people are not afraid to shine anymore. They're not afraid to be highlighted. They're always ready. They want to be seen, and I like that. And they're speaking out and speaking up. I'm seeing that, and I want to encourage them to continue. Speak out, man. This is your time now. There's what I see with these young people is that some people close the doors to some of these young people. But the difference with this generation today, that these young people are jumping through a window. When you close the door, they're going through a window.
Yeah.
They're not giving up. They're not giving up, and I love it.
Yeah. Tell us one habit that could change a young person's future.
Just being consistent overall. Consistency and discipline, I think, would change your life and change the complete trajectory of your life. Things that you didn't think you could do before, as long as you are consistent and decide that you're going to do it and be disciplined in doing it, it could completely change your life.
Mr. Dickinson, one habit that could change a young person's future?
When you stop thinking that you know it all and you have all of the answers, and that it will definitely change your life. You don't know it all. You don't have all the answers. Hey, you more advanced than your parents, and you should be, but you don't know it all. And if once they begin to change that and their attitude and their whole perspective on life pertaining to that, tops.
Let me just digress before my last fast fire question with you saying that. Was a young Nick Dickinson, did he think he knew it all?
If I thought I knew it all, definitely, until my auntie licked me in the back of my head from a child and said, boy, listen here, you live once, but you don't know it all, pay attention and listen, change your attitude. And that advice like that, helped shape Nick Dickinson. I sat in the company of adults, and I knew my place. And, back then, we was told, dogs among doctors, or you must be seen and not heard. The difference today that these young people is that you can't say that to them, because they've been seen and they've been heard, and they're making their voice and their presence known.
Yeah. Final fast fire question. Your message to a young person listening or watching us right now who feels unseen, unheard, or just simply stuck.
Stop being afraid of your own potential. I think sometimes as young people, we often doubt ourselves, doubt what it is that we can do by the measures of other persons, especially in this area of social media. We tend to limit it because it doesn't look like someone else's success or someone else's doing. Don't limit yourself. Do everything. Be authentic. Be you. Be audacious.
Mm-hmm. Mr. Deputy Director, your message to a young person who feels unseen, unheard, or just simply stuck?
I would say to our young people today, all right, that everything and all that you do, you feel stuck, you feel like you're going through, you need to put God first. Okay, like you can do nothing without God. Like, don't think you're gonna pull through this journey, through this world, through this without having faith in God. And so for those, if you feeling stuck, share with somebody. Learn how to, develop your communication skills, and build lasting friendship. Build friendships with people that will help push you, drive you, and take you to the next level in what you want to accomplish. Connect with people that will help, who would understand your purpose that you have, and that you can build on it together. Okay, that you have the same drives and aspirations, but in a nutshell, put God first in all that you do.
Yeah. Let me stay with you until I come back to Ms. Walcott. If you had unlimited resources right now, which one issue would you tackle for youth in the TCI, and why?
I know I sat on Mr. Hall's show one time. I said back in the day we had little money but a lot of ideas. Today we have a lot of money but little ideas. Okay, I would definitely develop youth programs on the Turks and Caicos Islands with whatever finances we have. I think we need to develop a youth center on each island. We need to, again, to create that safe space and that environment for our youth to nurture, for our young people to grow, for our young people to develop their skills, their sports, their athletic abilities. But again, if we can have a creative developing youth center on each island, or the Turks and Caicos Islands, it definitely will make a difference. So if I had that power, if I had that money, if I had that resources, that would probably be one of my first goals.
And Ms. Walcott, blank check, what would you do?
I have to follow up and agree with Mr. Dickinson. Infrastructure, we need those youth centers because we have to create those safe spaces for our youth. When we look at it, especially with the growing population that we need to have more spaces for these youth to be engaged in various programs on a day-to-day basis. So just creating that and building capacity as well. As I stated earlier, we have a
Small team, huh?
very, very small team. But yes, so increasing capacity and infrastructure for our youth.
Okay. Looking back, 5 years from now, when young people look back and they're a bit older, what do you hope they'd say about the leadership of the youth department?
I think that we can say that it has grown significantly, especially when we think about active youth participation in the ideas and seeing their vision actualized, that they are part of what is happening for them and other youth. So I think that's one of the biggest things for persons that would have been looking back 5 years ago and seeing how the department has evolved since then.
And Mr. Dickinson, 5 years from now, when young people look back, what do you hope they'd say about the leadership of your department?
5 years from now, I would hope that our young persons would understand our key objectives. They would understand that there's a written document called the National Youth Policy that highlight every event, activity, program geared towards them, and that we actually created platforms for them to be developed, motivated, and that we were able to create the leaders that they see themselves today, meaning them as leaders, that the department had a key role in helping them shape themselves to be the leaders that they are today. Because if they're the leaders, they will continue to pass on and set the trail for others to follow after them. So I believe that that once they can understand our key objectives of what we are trying to accomplish today, and that we follow that through, and they were able to benefit from it, and for them, that the leaders today, the businessmen, the the role models, the parents that they would turn out to be, that we had something to do with that because they understood our objectives and what we wanted to accomplish.
Yeah. And finally, what is Brianna Walcott's message to our youth and young people in the Turks and Caicos today?
Be innovative. Think outside of the box. Aim for the stars. There's absolutely nothing that you can't do once you put your mind to it.
And Mr. Dickinson, what's your message to a young person and the youth of the TCI?
Don't try to fit in. Don't try to blend in with what you see around. Accept who you are and who God created you to be. You are unique, you are talented, you are gifted, you are a young person with purpose, and you are a young person with drive and innovation and creativity. Leadership is built within you. You are purpose driven. Do not allow no one to tell you different. Don't allow no one to speak into your ear and to speak into your space and to put you down. Go after what you believe and go after with all your might. Believe in yourself first. When you believe in yourself first, there's nothing you can do or accomplish.
Great. Just recap the theme for us, when the national awards are, the time, and the venue.
It is Youth with Purpose, Building a Sustainable TCI, and the National Youth Awards will be coming January 3rd, 2026.
Time?
At 7 p.m.
Where?
At Brayton Hall.
Brayton Hall. So there you have it, the National Youth Awards coming up. We want to say thanks so very much to our youth officer and to our deputy director in the Department of Youth for joining us this morning. It's been really inspirational. I feel young again. So thank you both for that, and we want to wish you all the very best. And from First Edition, we want to wish you the happiest of holidays and a very Merry Christmas. So thank you both.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. This has been First Edition. We'll see you again next week. And Mr. Dickinson, I'll see you in Grand Turk, okay?
Definitely. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas.